Good morning, retail traders. I'm Washboardjim with a sneaky snake trading strategy where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. I got a special announcement I want to make. Donald Trump is now our 47th president of the United States, with me being the most influential person in the world. With him and we're going to make America great again. So we're going to talk about stocks. And I got a special watch list I want to talk about. It's called the Nancy Pelosi watch list of her latest stocks that she just bought. So I'm going to start the year out in 2025 with a new watch list, and I'm going to call it the Nancy Pelosi watch list, and I'll be adding stocks to this list as we go on throughout the year. So let's go ahead and look over the stocks real now. We got Alphabet, which is Google. It was bought on the 14th of 2025. We got Amazon, which was bought on the 14th of 2025. We have Apple, which was bought at the end of the year, which I think is a good idea on this dip. And we got NVDA. We got a bunch of buys going in on NVDA. Oh, we have a bunch here on Apple too, but it's kind of pulled back real big, so I think that'll be a good catalyst for this thing to even start to move around. Insider buying by Nancy Pelosi. So let's go right to it. I got my watch list right here, and we're going to start out with NVIDIA. This is the 190-day, 1-hour time frame. You can see we've been in a long Darvis box for over 180 days or so, 160 days. So we're going to take a good look at this stock right now and try to find a good trade off of it. So I've already got this thing charted up, but I want to rechart it for you and show you what I see. And we're going to clear the watch list, or clear the chart, and we're going to draw in a Darvis box. I'll start the Darvis box right here at the top of these here triple top. And I'll work it on all the way down to this triple bottom down here, but I'm going to put it right here off this head and shoulders. Somewhere right around there. I want to change this color, make it a little bit more visible so where it won't burn our eyes. And I've got this in blue, and I'm looking for a support level, trying to find patterns and things like that in this trade right now. We know that this bottom part of this here box will probably be support down here at the triple bottom. We have a triple bottom right here, and that's going to be our solid support to maybe start accumulating shares or contracts at the bottom of that there triangle. That's right around 130.72. Then we've got the top of the triangle, which is right about in here, and we're going to put a resistance line of right around 150. So inside of every box, every chart, every pattern, there is a pivot point. And that pivot point is we're going to try to find an equilibrium inside of this pivot point. Now I'm going to go ahead and just take this off right now and remove the drawing so I can see it a little bit better. And what I'm seeing right now is right in here is a good spot for a pivot point. I'm trying to find a pivot point is a place where you have an idea where it's going to break a resistance or it's going to hold at a support. It's an equilibrium to both resistance levels and support levels. So I'm going to put it right in here. I'm seeing this high right here, and I'm seeing a lot of balance coming in. We got some there, we got a bunch there, we got a bunch there, and we got one right here. So that's going to be our pivot point. That's going to be our resistance to break on the 1-hour time frame. It's right at 140.30. So it could come up here and double top out of this snake. A snake is a vertical pattern that goes either up or down. And in this case, it went down, broke out, came back, and then had a boom and hit that pivot point. We're at the 200 right now, SMA, and that's going to be a hard resistance to break. So this thing could easily run up to 140, and if it starts to break that 140.30 area, we could start to move up to a higher level. And that new resistance is going to be right in here off this previous high. We had kind of a double top and she pulled back. So that's going to be our next resistance right around 144.26. And then your next resistance will be the top of that channel right there, where that, and then the next one will be right up in there. So there's your three resistance levels off the pivot point. If it breaks a 140, it'll jump up and maybe have a high of right around 144, 146, or 148, with a long to 150 if you wanted to hold these shares long. Support level will be right about down here at 134. That bottom right there, that bottom right there, that bottom right there, and then it almost touched that bottom right there. So, and then we got the previous high right here, and we got the bottom right there. So that thing can come back down this week and hit 134 with a strong buy at 130 and run that back up and keep it in that channel. As long as we stay in that Darvis box, we're still bullish in the trade. So the resistance to break will be the pivot point right around 140, and then you can go ahead and stop this video at any time and write these down. The next one we're going to look at will be Apple. Apple, we're going to erase this whole thing on Apple, clear the chart, clear the alerts, and start fresh. The same thing I'm going to do here. We have the 200 now. I'm going to look at this a little bit different. As we read up before from the bottom, we hit that 200 SMA and pulled back again. Now Apple has some problems of it not being number one in China. It's not the number one selling phone anymore in China. So that's why we had the pullback in this trade. So we've got a little snake right here that's lasted about 3 weeks. And I think it's about time for it to go ahead and start to move up. Now I'm going to look at the weekly time frame and see if I see something that's special on this trade, like a 3 black crows. And we go to the weekly, and we've had 3 black crows right here. That's a sell-off. That means we've had 3 weeks of complete selling. 3 black crows could be a possibility of a small reversal pattern back to the upside. And this is on the weekly time frame. So I'm going to use the weekly for resistance levels, and I'm going to go to the daily on this one now that I know that we have these 3 black crows. 3 black crows again is 3 red weeks, 3 consecutive candles that sell off. As you can see, 3 black crows a bounce. We had 4 black crows and then it hit the 63 and bounced. We had 2 of them and then it bounced. We had 3 of them and it bounced. We had 2 and it had a little stagflation here. We had 2 and we had a good bounce. So we've got 3 right now, and we're going to go at the bottom of that candle for this week and draw a price line right around 229.76 with the bottom of that wick, and we'll see that on the daily. The bottom of the wick is right around 227. And then we got resistance level, including the body of this candle and these wicks right here, and then it comes complete with the top of the body of that candle. So that's going to be a hard resistance to break, right around 236.36. So if it bounces, starts to move up and break the 21 EMA, which is the white line, we bounced off the 21, we bounced off the 21, we dipped down below the 21, so that 21 is going to be your resistance to break. If you can break that resistance, and that resistance is right around 233.19, and we're going to go to the body of that candle. So let's see if we can get this pretty much right on. Right around, and we'll take this to the daily. So this week's hard resistance is going to be right around 236.36. Now I'm going to bring this to the daily time frame. That's beautiful. We have a triple top break right here. Actually, we had a wick right here. So we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, and she broke out to the upside. We had a real good sell-off for about 3 weeks now, and we created a harmony candlestick pattern which means we could run back up and try to break that 63 and that 50 SMA and that 21. They're all in there together. Plus we have the 9 right here, which hits at 236.36. So that's going to be your hard resistance to break. I'm going to call that my target until we go to a higher level. For right now, to stay bullish, we need to hold this 227.12. I'm going to go ahead and call this trade out. I think it's ready to go back to the upside and try to hit 236.36 this coming week. We do have a short week, but Trump's back in office. All the tech giants were at the inaugural. We had Google, we got Apple, we got Amazon. I don't know if Google was there, but Amazon and Apple and Meta. So 236.36 is going to be our resistance this week, with a support. If we can hold to 227.12, we're going to be still in business. The next stock is going to be Google. We're going to clean the chart on Google. I watch these stocks every day anyway. We've had a real good breakout here on the gap up, and it held that gap from these triple top breakout that we had right here. So we're going to go to the body of that candle on the daily, right around 182.86 is going to be your solid support if it does decide to pull back. Now we do have, I would call almost an ascending triangle up here at the top. I'm using the bodies of the candle again, right around 197.37 for resistance to break to go past that $200 mark. 197.37. So we're going to use the moving averages on this trade because these candles are kind of in and out, in and out. So we're going to use that 9 on the daily for a support level this coming week. And that's going to be right around the 193.50 area. If that holds, you're still staying bullish. Now, notice we did hit the 21. We did bounce off the 21, and this thing could easily come back and bounce off that 21 one more time, right around 190.17. 191.17. So that's going to be our solid support this week. We do have a hammer up here, so that means it could probably go ahead and break out. The buyers are holding on. The sellers got out of the trade. The wicks on the bottom. But let's see, just keep it just like this for right now. I'm going to say support is at 193.50 with a strong buy at 191.17. And if that doesn't hold, we could dip on down to the body of this candle here and maybe catch us a nice little bounce back up to resistance at 189.64. The next one on our list, so let's go over this again. As long as we hold the 9, we're still bullish on the daily time frame, and resistance to break is going to be this here triple top, right around 197 quad top. I mean, it's hit 4 times, and then we touched it for the 5th. 197.37 is going to be our resistance to break, to bring it back up to the $200 level. And that'll be a triple top off the 200, right around 200 and 201. With support level, like I said, at 193.50, and then the 21 EMA on the daily, 191.17, with maybe a little reversal if it does hit 189.64. And that's going to be Google. And the last one on the list is Amazon. Amazon's also one of the top dogs out there trading right now. We're going to clear the chart up. We've got a previous resistance right here at 215 something, 215.81, 216. We're going to raise it up just a little bit. Let's erase this and take it off the body of that candle. At 217.30. 217.30 will hold the 50 SMA, and if it holds that 50 SMA, you got a gap right in here, so it could drop down a little bit more than that, and then bounce up and try to break that 217.30, but that 217.30 is going to be our solid support. If we keep it above the 9, we did have a crossover over the 9 over the 21 EMA, and if that holds support, then that could be your solid support to run this back up. And we're going to take it on the bottom of that wick, and that's right around 222.76. So if that holds, and then we have resistance to break on the top of the body of that candle right there, which is at 227.88, up to a head and shoulders. You can see the left shoulder here and the right shoulder here, and we're going to draw a trend line across that using the bodies. And that runs right into that resistance level. So that 227.88 is going to be a hard resistance to break. Now we've tried to attempt that line twice. We did it once here and we've done it once here. And I think this next time out we could probably go ahead and break it and bring it up to a double top at 233. Let's go ahead and get the price line in here. Right at 233. 233 is perfect. So that's going to be our hard resistance to break on Amazon. Now Amazon's had a good run, and we kind of have us a fallen wedge right here. So it looks like it was breaking out of that fallen wedge, the top of that body of that candle to that one right there, and looks like we broke out of it. Let's just take a peekaboo here. Barely broke out of that wedge. So it's still kind of iffy if it wants to break out of it. If it does, that hard resistance against 227.88 with a long of 233. And if it gets news and stuff like that, Nancy Pelosi's definitely in this trade right now with a strong buy at 217.30. And no lower than that. I mean strong buy at 217.30. If it does pull back on that news, on anything, on any kind of news or however the market's going to trend. We need to realize, how is the fat cats going to react to Donald Trump being president of the United States? I remember that we had a great 4 years, one of the best economies that I can throw a stick at. The one that we've had here lately has been inflation by monetary policy and a bunch of money thrown into the market of $14 trillion in a matter of 4 years. And anything can run on that if the printing just didn't stop. And it was a lot of wasted money that didn't need to be spent. Donald Trump is going to use the private sector's money mostly, but we're going to throw money in there too. We got to clean the mess that Joe Biden have left in the past 4 years. We're going to clean up Carolina. We're going to clean up the fires in California. We're going to shut down the borders. We're going to stop human trafficking, and there's a lot on the list that we got to take care of. So let's just wish America a very good next 4 years, and God bless America. I want to thank Donald J. Trump for being my partner of crime. And this is the Sneaky Snake Trading Strategy, where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now.